This video is all about the Sony 18-135 kit lens. Now this is a 3.5 to 5.6 variable aperture lens, but it is OSS, so there is nice stability in this. I'm going to test it out with some video autofocusing, also image quality through photos, throughout the whole aperture range, just to generally see what this lens is like and who is this for. All right, let's get into it. What's going on, guys? My name is Jason Morris, and today we're going to talk about that kit lens 18-135 for your Sony APS-C range. Is this lens any good? Now, you can actually pick this up at the moment for under 500 USD, so it's relatively cheap lens for the telephoto range. It's 18-135, so you are covering generally a nice full range. So who is this for? Who exactly is this kit lens for? Travel photographers. It is obviously captures a whole bunch of different focal lengths. Portrait photographers, it could actually work. Doesn't have the greatest aperture in terms of the speed of the lens. It is 3.5 to 5.6, so it's a variable aperture lens. So you won't necessarily get great out of focus backgrounds, but it still definitely can work. It could be people who want to shoot videos on the fly, family videos, travel videos even, because you do have that nice zoom range, and you've also got OSS, which is Optical Steadyshot. So if your camera doesn't have your image stability, so IBIS for the Sonys, like my a6000 and a6300 don't have IBIS. Even the a6400 now doesn't have IBIS. This lens could actually work well for you for that video, if you don't have a gimbal, obviously. All right, well, let's hop into the video autofocusing test. All right, so we're on autofocusing test here now. This is at 18 millimeters, and we obviously have a shutter speed at 1/50th of a second, frame rate 25 frames per second. Autofocus seems to be fast popping in and out of screen. You can notice in the background there when it gets that bokeh. That is a quick, easy way of seeing if the autofocusing is working. We're going to run towards the screen, and it seems to be catching focus quite well at 18 millimeters. Throwing the hand in front of the camera, catches focus, back to the head, back to the hand, and back to the head. That's very good. So we do have it on autofocus speed is fast and responsive as well. So we're hitting it at 50 millimeters here. Jumping in and out of frame. It's good focusing speed. That's quite nice. We'll try it once more. And that's good. See if it can track me backwards. It seems to be tracking quite well. All right, it's going to come directly towards. Not bad performance there. It seems to be tracking on par. Hands in front, back to the face, back to the hands, and back to the face. Very well done. All right, it is at full 135 millimeters now. And we're going to track forward, see if it catches focus. Doesn't seem to be flowing as fast as 18 and 50 millimeters. It does seem to be a little bit slow at 135 millimeters in terms of catching focus. Obviously, the autofocus speed, drive speed, is exactly the same as the other two. Just doesn't seem to be as fast. Now, obviously, there is more lens compression, so you do have more bokeh, so there is a shallower depth of field, but that shouldn't matter too much with the focusing speed. but overall it seems to be a quite good performance from this lens. Now, one thing to mention is that it doesn't actually have weather sealing as well. So that is a bit of a downside when it comes to the kit lens right here, is that it will only cost a few dollars just to put a couple of rubber gaskets on the inside of your lens mount, and obviously around the outside of where the lens element is. So it is unfortunate that it doesn't have weather sealing. The a6000 isn't weather sealed anyway, so if you do have the a6000, you're going to keep it out of the weather as much as possible anyway. But a6300 and upwards, they are weather sealed bodies, so it is good to have nice weather sealed lenses with your weather sealed body. So the one thing about this lens right here is that it is a very small lens element. So it's only a 55mm filter thread on the front. So if you do need to put your filters on the front, you're gonna have to get either step down filters or buy a filter specifically for that lens. Now, I generally use step down rings for my filters because I just get one filter and then use them on most of my lenses anyway. Well, we may as well hop in to see what the lens sharpness is like with this lens. And we are in for the image quality test on the 18 to 135 lens. We're at 18mm at f3.5, and in the middle, you can see it's not too bad. It's not crazy sharp, a little bit soft coming out to the corners, and you can see it's quite soft in all corners. Contrast is very nice though. We'll stop it down to f5.6 and we expect it to be a little bit sharper. Yeah, so it's quite sharp in the center, and in the outsides, it definitely has gotten a little bit sharper on the outside. So it's not too bad performance at 18mm. We'll step it down to f8 and it's reached its peak sharpness there in the center. It's fantastically sharp. And on the outsides, it's still a little bit soft, but contrast is quite high, so not too bad there. And we stop it down to f11, and it's still quite sharp. Maybe a little bit of lens diffraction there. It seems to be really sharp in the corners at f11. I think it's hit its peak sharpness there. Fantastic at 18mm. And we're on to 24mm at f4. Looking at it in the center, it's a little bit soft in the center, moving out to the outsides, and likewise it is soft in the outsides as well. We'll stop it down to f5.6 and we expect it to be, it's very sharp in the middle, very nice contrast as well. Stepping it out to the outside, and it's not too bad. It's quite sharp on the outsides with good contrast. And we'll step it down to f8, and obviously its peak sharpness, very nice in the center, and on the outsides it's quite sharp as well. At 49mm, obviously I couldn't get it to 50. We're at f5, and very, very, very sharp in the center. That is great sharpness. On the outsides, not so much. It's a little bit a little bit soft on the outsides there. Stopping it down to f8, and obviously it's still sharp in the centers, and it's probably reached its peak sharpness out in the corner as well. And we'll go to 135mm at f5.6, and it is very sharp in the center, and it seems to be quite sharp in the corners, a little bit soft. Very nice contrast as well. Stopping it down to f8, and back in the corners there, it's still a little bit soft. Stopping it down to f11, and it doesn't seem to have too much improvement in the corners there. Lens diffraction seems to be kicking in the center. It's not as sharp in the center, and it does stop down to f36, and obviously massive amounts of lens diffraction, so it's really soft, losing its contrast. I had to manual focus this, and I got it, took as many photos as I could to try and get that sharpness in, and yeah, obviously you wouldn't be shooting too high up at that f36. Now we're gonna have a look. We're gonna turn the profile corrections off, and you can see there is epic amount of barrel distortion there. There's extreme amounts of vignetting in the corners as well. Obviously you'd click that profile corrections on the side and you can see the details here where it picks up which kind of lens you have there, and that obviously fixes it up. Let's go to 24mm, turn that profile corrections off. Same again, it's pretty epic distortion there, only a little bit of vignetting, but is, yeah, definitely very noticeable distortion. We'll head to 49mm and we'll turn that profile corrections off. 49mm, it seems to be quite good. All you can notice is just that vignetting. All right, and we'll head to 135mm, and seems to be a little bit of pin cushioning when it comes to that, and obviously your vignetting on the outsides as well. But once you've got that profile corrections on, it does straighten it up, takes away the vignetting, so that is not too bad performance from the lens. It's just, yeah, naturally you do get, yeah, extreme amounts of barrel distortion from that wide angle up until about 50mm. Now, one of the good features that is on this is the autofocus to manual focus toggle switch. Because when I do a lot of lens reviews or product reviews, I am toggling between autofocus and manual focus. Generally, I'll manual focus when I do my little B-roll sequences because I want to be able to be in control of where I want in focus. Now, it is really good to have that little toggle switch there, is that you can quickly throw it back into autofocus when you need to, or put it back into manual focus to get those finer adjustments. So it really depends on what you use it for, but that is a really good feature to have. Now, like I said before, it has OSS. Now that means Optical Steadyshot. Optical Steadyshot it's a fantastic option if you don't have IBIS in your camera body. Now, the a6000, a6300 does not have IBIS. I do have to use it on a gimbal to get nice steady shots, but when you're on the fly, when you're on the run and gun, you don't want to be able to whip out that gimbal and get some shots. With the OSS, it works just well enough to take out a lot of those micro jitters, so you still get some decent footage at the end of the day in comparison to not having it. Now, is this the perfect lens for the a6000? It really depends on what you photograph or what you film, but it is a very versatile zoom range. So you've got 18 to 135, so it covers pretty much every single basis that generally a normal photographer or videographer might need. So that is it from me, guys. Please hit that like button if you could. Comment below if you have this lens or if you're looking to buy this lens. Any questions on the lens, obviously any questions with my channel in general. I'm still gonna try and pump out as much Sony content for you guys as possible with the APS-C range and the full frame range. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you already haven't, guys. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you can be notified when my next videos are released. Guys, my name's Jason Morris, and I'll see you in the next one. All right. Azalea, say goodbye. See you later.